The purpose of this session is to provide the investors what is the investment journey in Saudi Arabia, what kind of information you can get regarding the mining sector in Saudi Arabia, what kind of minerals are available in Saudi Arabia, and some opportunities also at the end about the machine and equipment sector. So at the beginning, my colleague Al-Hassan will talk about the investment services, and also we're going to talk about what are the licenses required to invest in Saudi Arabia, and then he will shed some light on the region headquarter initiative in Saudi Arabia, and also maybe talk a bit about the new government procurement law. After that, we're going to talk a bit about the mining sector in Saudi Arabia, and then our colleagues from the Saudi Geological Survey will talk about the minerals available in Saudi Arabia and the opportunities. And at the end, the National Industrial Development Center will present the machinery equipment opportunities in the mining sector. So without taking more of your time, I will invite my colleague Al-Hassan Hamid Ad-Din.
Okay, thank you. I think I already have that. Thanks, Hamza. Thanks, Mohammed. Good morning, everybody. All right. So Al-Hassan Hamid Ad-Din, I'm the director of the Regional Headquarter Outreach, a new program initiatives that's been actually announced early 2021. I'll be talking more about this Regional Headquarter program once we talk about it. But in the meantime, let me just give you information about, a brief about the Ministry of Investment, what kind of services we do for the investors when they come to Saudi Arabia. So, moving forward, the investment of Saudi Arabia is actually with the investors before they get the licenses, during their licensing, and after approaching the license. So we have different types of services, what we can do in the ministry. When it comes before setting up, we do actually a tailored marketing economic reports to the investors to have an idea exactly about the different investments available in Saudi Arabia. And more than that, we do the matchmaking linkage, the opportunity, the investors, and in some cases, actually, for investors who are looking for a joint venture with a local partner, we do also help them in that. To go for the organizing visits, as investors would like to visit new sites, depending on their business and the sectors that they're doing, to understand exactly how is it prepared, what are the regulations for that, to make sure they put the right sets for them. We assist them in the location searches where they want to base their offices. Some investors could be totally new to Saudi Arabia, not knowing which city is the right city for them. And this is actually depending on the type of their business. As for example, if they're in oil and gas, we're expecting them to be in the Eastern Province, and so on. When it comes actually for the cases development supporting, this is sometimes actually there are cases where they would like to have a better understanding about it, which will help the investors actually to make the right decisions in actually opening their businesses with the right format and the right methods. And most important things there is the tailored incentives that we provide for our investors, where we actually would help them to see what would make it successful for the investors to open their business here in Saudi Arabia. So this is what we do before. During that, when you do the setup, we start working with the licensing, where the first license the investors usually get is the Misa investment license, where we explain to them to see what type of license they're looking for. Is it a service license? Is it industrial? Or even it's actually a trade. So from that, we get them what are the rules and regulations for each, help them actually in providing the right documents to proceed with these licenses. More than that, actually, we do liaison with the investors, actually, to provide their services there with corporate structures, if they're looking for what's the right corporate structure to be done here in Saudi. We'll help them actually due to the experience that we have from the diversity of the companies that we've dealt with before. And when you go after setup there, that's the key thing where actually I would like all the investors to pay attention, because a lot of them think that the role of Misa stops at the part of the setup. We actually do a lot after setup, which we follow up with investors just to make sure that their investment is growing as expected. If they have any dilemma, we are there to help them. If they're asking for any informations, for example, tenders informations, and starters information that will help them to make the right decisions in their investments, we are there always to help. So we like them to feel that we are their right hand. We are part of their team to support them in the business. To move on forward for that, these are, in general, some of the services what we provide for the investors. ranging from different workshops. We arrange them and we follow up with the investors to see if they can come in to know what are the new regulations that have been set in the kingdom. Investment consultations, if they have some questions, they're not sure they're making the right decisions or not, we're here to help. Business centers to support them in licenses and finishing the day-to-day routine matters. Contact center, could be face-to-face, could be an online hotline. They talk different languages, and also they're available 24/7. We do support investors, any means, and the relationship management, where the investors will have what we call account managers for them to support them and follow up and help them to stay in compliance, and once they're not, guide them what's the right way to be compliant. Now, this is what we do actually here when it comes to licensing for the investors. We're talking about foreign investors here. It starts first by obtaining Misa RHQ license. Once you get this license, then we reserve the trade name with the help of the Ministry of Commerce, as we deal directly with them. And then after that, the investor, obtain the commercial registration with our support with the investors. Moving forward, we open what we call the labor office file, so they can actually start getting their employees to get them to Saudi Arabia. And then we obtain the general manager visa, and from that, the rest of these services of the subscription of Chamber of Commerce, getting the license for the Ministry of Municipality, the tax authority licenses, and the rest of the documents needed for the entity the manager will be able to do them once he gets his visa. Now, all of that, you can see we're talking about different services, different entities. What we've done actually, we've created what we call Misa, the one-stop shop, where all these entities exist under one floor, so the investor can, with EAs, go and meet those investors. Now, we have expedited our licenses and services. So talking about that, when it comes to Misa, it used to require 12 documents in the past. Now you only need 2 documents. Moving forward, it used to take 3 days, which is reasonable, but we pushed that to make it 3 hours. And also, when it comes to the service with the rest of the government entities, with the right documents provided, this could be done in a week time. To talk more about the ownership, so this is a process, and I will call it a continuous process, where we have different sectors, about 14 plus different sectors in the country. And what we're trying to do here is to make it easy for the investors to do the business. What a lot of them actually are asking to have the 100% ownership for that. So we're getting there. You can see all those 10 sectors in the meantime here, where all the investors could have 100% ownership. Yet we're still having the other sectors. We're studying them from environmentally and regulatory part to see how we can let the investors to have the 100% ownership. So now in these sectors, the ownership, it's actually 100% for you, and it's an optional for you to have a JV with a partner. So this is the first part. I would like to talk about the investment services or journey of the investors. Now what I want to do actually here is to talk more about the very important program for the kingdom, where there was an announcement last weekend from the government, which is the procurement law for the companies that does not have a regional headquarter in the kingdom. So let me go through it. Excuse me, can you just switch the second presentation? So until they load it, let me talk to you about this program. So this is part of the Vision 2030 program. It's supporting a specific arm, and this arm is making Saudi Arabia the business hub of the region. A lot of initiatives and program has taken place for that. And in order to do that, one of the programs is the region headquarters. As I mentioned earlier in this session, it started early 2021, where we've announced for the program. And the idea for it is we want to support the companies to actually move their regional headquarters or establish them into Saudi Arabia, as right now the business in Saudi Arabia is moving. The growth in the region of Saudi Arabia is here. The majority of businesses in the region, when I'm talking the region, I'm talking about MENA region, do exist here in Saudi Arabia, and we want to help the companies to support them by making them closer to their businesses, and I'm talking about their regional management closer to it. So, no further ado. Okay. This program here is specific for the multinational companies where we want them to create the regional headquarters 100% owned by them. Now, some companies would say, we do have existence actually in the country here. You're right, it could be existence as your own commercial entity with 100% ownership. It could be with a joint venture, or it could be in affiliation of distributors or even agents. The idea here, what we're talking about, the regional headquarters is totally different from all of that because it does not have a commercial license for that. The main function for the regional headquarters is purely management and strategic directions, not just for Saudi Arabia, but for the whole region, and we're talking about MENA region. So for that to happen, we need to make sure that the RHQ to have a separate legal personality. So it's not just a certificate from the Ministry of Investment of Saudi Arabia, it's actually an entity where you have to do the rest of the documents, such as the commercial registration, opening the file of the Ministry of Human Resource, and so on, as a separate entity. Now, more than that, there are actually a couple of rules here we need to know about it, where the RHQ need to be present here in Saudi in its offices. So some people would say, if I have an entity here, do I need to have a separate office for the region headquarters? The answer is no. If you have an entity that you own 100%, which is a commercial entity, the RHQ team could share the same offices. A lot of people have been asking, where are we supposed actually to base our RHQ in Saudi Arabia? Our preference is Riyadh due to all the great hypes that's taking place in the city, but it's up to you anywhere you wish in Saudi Arabia to actually benefit your business. Now, more than that, this is an administrative center. The key thing about the region headquarters here, we call it an administrative RHQ. Why? Because the conventional region headquarters have an ownership, actually, for the entities in the region. This one doesn't. The only legal thing you have is just the regional headquarters as an entity by itself. How are you going to run the show for the rest? It's going to be from within the corridors of the companies, where you're going to have this RHQ to be the ultimate center for management and strategic directions without having to change anything legal for any of the entities to prove the ownership. Okay? More than that, we're talking about the team of the RHQ. The team of the RHQ, they need to be based in Saudi Arabia. And what do we mean with that? Being based here in Saudi Arabia means that you have the residency in Saudi Arabia. You actually have your salary earning in the bank accounts of Saudi Arabia. You also have the tenancy rental to show that you're here. Now, in Saudi Arabia, we're not like other countries where they mention you need to stay 60% of your time in the country and 40% traveling. We're totally open. You could travel as much as you wish because we understand this is the region headquarters, and with it comes a lot of travels. Okay. Now, if I move here to this point, the MNC part, this is the definition of a multinational company where this regional headquarters applies to it. The multinational company in definition here, it's any company that has at least 2 subsidiaries anywhere in the world other than the one in Saudi Arabia, and beside, of course, the parent company. So we're talking about at least 4 geographical locations to be covered in minimum globally for the company. So if your company is that, then this multinational companies do qualify for the regional headquarters, and hence you apply for it. The region, as we mentioned, it's MENA, and now I'm going to talk about the activity of the RHQ since it's not actually conducted to be commercial operation. What do? They do these activities. So these activities, we split them for the RHQ to 2 main activities: mandatory activities and optional activities. The mandatory activities, we also split that to be strategic directions and management functions. And if you take a general look at them, they're pretty much common sense tasks any HQ in the world would do. We didn't ask for something unique there. Now, the only thing people ask me about is the 4th point here under strategic, which is this one specifically, and that's mentioning support acquisitions and mergers, where companies says this usually takes place either at the headquarter level or at the commercial entity level. The key word here is support. So it's up to the company to choose how the regional headquarter would support the business in the merger acquisition. It could be a deep dive or it could be merely facilitating. Now, moving to the optional activities in the middle, these activities are all support activities because, as I said, the regional headquarters does not generate revenue. It's your commercial entity that does that. Since they're that, we only ask the companies to at least pick 3 of those optional activities. The more you get, the merrier, of course, but at least 3 to pick. Now, after getting the license, which is the Misa RHQ license, the question is, what's next? Next is, we're going to move actually to the green box. And this green box here, it's about having a grace period of 6 months from the moment you receive Misa RHQ license, where you can start putting your org chart, start bringing the people, start working on the licenses. I talked about it in the previous presentations. Now, the key challenge here, it's actually about bringing the manpower, as we know that they'll be linked with their families and the kids' schooling. So for that, when it comes to manpower, we give them a whole year grace period from the time you receive the Misa RHQ license. So how does it work? 6 months and a whole year. Let's say you got the Misa RHQ license, and after 6 months, you got the license functioning. But you may function with 1 or 2 people on ground. The remaining people actually are abroad. So what you could do actually, the additional 6 months, or I should say the next 6 months, will be a hybrid period for you. Hybrid period means some people on ground running, and the remaining are working remotely in the process to come to Saudi Arabia. So by the end of this next 6 months, we are expecting the companies to have their team of the RHQ up and running. The question is, what's the criteria of those people of the RHQ? We are asking the companies to at least have, by the end of the first year, 15 full-time employees of the RHQ. Now the question is, what's their criteria? We ask at least 3 of those 15 needs to be from the top level executives of the MENA region. We're based here in Saudi. And we give you here some examples of titles. You don't need to use these titles. Use your own company's titles. All right? Now, what about the remaining 12? It's up to you. You want to be additional executive, you want to be managers, or even admins. But the most important thing is that all those people, they are going to be having a regional role. And there are ways, I'll be more than happy to support you for that later, to explain to you how to make that happen. Now, we need to talk more about the benefits of this program. So, these are the benefits we're having here, and I should call them the starting benefits. Starting benefits meaning that we made them in a way to make it easy for the companies to actually move their people or establish the regional headquarters. And just to let you know, before going through them, this program is continuously evolving, meaning we're just starting with these. More will be coming in the pipeline as we study the program and share it with our partners. When I say partners, I'm talking about the governments and partners from the private sector who already has regional headquarters licenses. So to start with these, let me go through them. The first one is there's a 10 years Saudization exemption at the RHQ level. So your RHQ could start in Saudi Arabia, 100% non-Saudi. Now, why did we come with that in alignment with all government? It's because we understand the region headquarters is a very sensitive location or positions for the companies, and we need to make sure that we give it the room to pick up the right calibers. Some companies will have Saudis, especially if they're here in Saudi Arabia for the last 30, 40 years. Others who are new will not have this competitive advantage if they don't have this rule. So we want to make it equal for everybody to start regional headquarters in a good pace. The second one, spouse work permit and the dependent age. So spouses for the regional headquarters could actually apply for the work permit while maintaining their sponsorship under their RHQ. The dependent age in Saudi Arabia up to the age of 18 years old, usually it's under the parents, then it needs to be changed, usually under the company. What we did for the RHQ, we pushed that to be until 25 years old. So your dependent could study college actually in Saudi Arabia while under your sponsorship. Third thing, professional accreditation. Other than medical and engineering, because these two are very sensitive, the rest of the accreditation actually are waived from the RHQ employees. Fourth thing, the visa limit exemption. Usually the commercial entities has limitation due to the program of nitaqat, which we call it the tiers of Saudization there. Since RHQ doesn't have this, you have no limits actually for your visas. I'm talking about employees and the visitors. The fifth one, we have the end-to-end services. So we created a committee, we called it Misa, M-I-Z-A. It's coming from the Arabic word that's called at-tamayyuz, in English means privilege. So the idea for it is to support companies in establishing their regional headquarters. Examples for that, you're looking for somebody to help you in hiring an office or renting an office. Or you are looking actually for somebody to help you in hiring people, help you in government paperwork, looking for accommodation for your people, or even schools for their kids. They'll do these services for you free of charge. And the last and the most important thing is the government and semi-government tendering, and this will be effective 1st of January 2024. Let me explain you that by an example. So, your companies have a regional headquarter license. Your competition do not have a regional headquarter license. Both of you are bidding for a government tender. So what's going to happen is the government will ask, who has the RHQ license? You'll say, oh, we do. Then you are qualified to proceed in that tendering. What about company B without RHQ license? They are disqualified until they have a regional headquarter license. And then we start asking more questions, saying, what if I already have a contract with the government expiring, let's say, 2026? This is going to kick off effective on 1st of January 2024. What will happen? They said that by 1/1/24, if my company does not have an RHQ license, then the government will exercise their right in activating the termination clause. We asked further questions. My company is FMCG. I don't deal with government. I'm B2B. How would that affect me? So we got the example of, let's say there's a 100% Saudi company buying from the FMCG and selling to the government. The government will ask two questions. The first question they will ask, is the product sold to them? Is it a local content? Meaning that, is it manufactured in Saudi Arabia? If the answer is yes, as a local content, you're not bound by having RHQ or not. All product manufactured in Saudi Arabia can go to the government tenders, all right? Now, and we're talking about product level, not companies level. The second question is, what if the answer is no? Then what's gonna happen? They'll ask the second question, does the company that manufactured this product have an RHQ in Saudi? If yes, they proceed, but if both questions are no, then the government will apologize for accepting this product. So what will happen to the Saudi company? They'll go to their vendor, the FMCG, and they'll ask him, you either have a regional headquarter or I have to change to a different vendor because my business is being affected from the government. And that's how indirect it affects companies such as FMCGs. So this is a nutshell about the program. I'll be more than happy for people to reach me out if you want more information about it. And to let you know that the program, you could actually, starting from June 2022, to apply online for the license. I'll be more than happy to support you for that. With this, I believe I've reached the end of my presentations. If there's any questions, I could take it offline. So my colleagues, I believe, whatever presentation I'm going to have right now, to come in. So who's next? Huh? No worries.
Geological survey, am I right?
Okay, hayak. Okay. Thank you. Okay, my colleague Saudi Geological Survey will start. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Doesn't work. Good morning, everyone. My name is Abdullah Nabahan. I'm a Senior Director at Saudi Geological Survey. And it's my pleasure to give this presentation to draw your attention to mineral resource in Saudi Arabia. We have Arabian Shield. By the way, the land area in Saudi Arabia, it covers about 2 million square kilometers. And the Arabian Shield, it is 650,000 square kilometers. And if you are looking to the west of the Arabian Shield, we have the sedimentary cover, which cover about 130,000 square kilometers. The Arabian Shield, it is Neoproterozoic rocks. That means the age dating, it's between the 571 to 1,000 million years. And most of the mineral, or I can say the metallic minerals, we have it in the Arabian Shelf. And if you are looking to the sedimentary cover in Saudi Arabia, we have the non-metallic minerals. So, and actually, to know the geology of the Arabian Shelf, we classify the mineralization in Arabian Shelf to 9 type of mineralization. So we have orogenic gold veins, and also we have the epithermal gold mineralization, and we have mineralization related to the submarine volcanisms. We have sedimentary lead and zinc mineralization, and we have also mineralization related to the granitic rocks. And porphyric copper mineralization, we have also the mineralization related to mafic and ultramafic rocks, and rare earth mineralization. And we have the titanium residual placer deposit if you are looking to the southern part of Saudi Arabia along the Red Sea coast. We have this kind of placer deposit that rich in titanium. So I cannot honestly go in detail, explain about the geology of the Arabian Shelf, but let's see how mineral occurrences we have it in the Arabian Shelf and the sedimentary cover. We have 5,580 mineral occurrences, including metallic and non-metallic minerals. As I mentioned, the metallic minerals, or most of the metallic minerals, gold, silver, and the other minerals we have it in the Arabian Shelf. Looking to the west of the Arabian Shelf, as I mentioned, looking to the east of the Arabian Shelf, as I mentioned, we have the sedimentary cover, and I can say most of the non-metallic minerals, such as sandstone, limestone, we have it in sedimentary cover. So this is the metallic industrial rocks in Saudi Arabia. We have gold. We have many occurrences of gold in the Arabian Shelf. Lead, zinc, copper, silica sand with the high quality in the sedimentary cover. Also, we have quartzite, feldspar, bauxite, phosphate, magnesite, limestone, dolomite, granitic rocks, clay minerals, and marble, by the way, clay minerals and gypsum. I can say all commercial silica sand with the high quality, we have it in the sedimentary rocks. And this is just example for Al-Butain, which is in Riyadh region. So we have 550 million ton. And look at the quality of this silica sand, it's 99. And if you're looking to Jebel al-Dughm, which is also close to Riyadh, in the Riyadh region, we have 1 million ton, and the SiO2 it's about 99.4. And then we have in 2001, SGA Saudi Geological Survey found high quality of silica sand in the sedimentary cover. And that silica sand, it's about 99.8. So the iron is very low. That means high quality silica sand, we have it in Saudi Arabia. And then it is actually in Tabuk region, Taima, northwest of Saudi Arabia. And then in Al Jawf also we discovered, Saudi Geological Survey discover new deposit, I can say, of silica sand. And if you are looking to the percent of SiO2, it's 98.8. And then we have in 2018, looking to the south of Riyadh from here, we have Al Kharj area. And we have finished our project in there, looking for the high quality silica sand, and give us percentage of the silica sand is 98.4. Honestly, I have no clue how much of silica sand we have in the southern part of Saudi Arabia. We have huge silica sand, and we need more detailed work to know the reserve and resource of that kind of minerals. So looking back to the Arabian Shelf, and we have 50 location of quartz, and look at the percentage of quartz. It's 99.9. And that map, as you can see, showing the location of the quartz in the Arabian Shelf. And then we have limestone. Limestone is with good quality in a Riyadh region. Also, if you are looking to the Red Sea, along the Red Sea, northern part of the Red Sea, we have limestone with the high quality. Arabian Gulf in the same times. So really, the time doesn't help me to go in detail and explain about the limestone and the silica sand. So now, let's go to the project in the pipeline that we have it in Saudi Geological Survey. It's a really important project. It's called metallogenic map. And the aim of this project to metallogenic map to identify the metallic system, discover also new exploration target. And the question, what's that metallogenic map mean? It's based on the huge data we have it. Based on the map, geophysical, and also tectonic setting, structure, geochemistry, petrography, mineralogy, and mineral deposit. So we have this, all the, as I mentioned, data. Then we can relate the map showing the distribution of minerals in the Arabian Shelf. Okay, so as I mentioned about the type of mineralization, this map showing the major type of mineralization we have in the Arabian Shelf. And it's based on the metallogenic map. Look at that if you are looking to the east or the west part of the Arabian Shelf. Orogenic gold is the major process. And that's really important in the mining and in exploration also. It's guide us to find the occurrences, to find the mineral deposit in the Arabian Shelf. And we discover 32 belts that have, occurrences of gold, silver, and other metallic minerals. And they have example here, north of north of Jeddah. It's Al Wajh area. It's approximately 650 kilometers north of Jeddah. And we found there is mineral occurrences in there for gold, silver, and the other metallic minerals. And by the way, we have other projects to correlate Arabian Shelf with the Nubian Shelf. Because the Red Sea, as you know, as a geologist know, it's recent. It's about what, 29 million years? So the Arabian Shelf is older than, 541 or 47 million years. That means the Arabian Shelf and the Nubian Shelf was like a one part. That's why some occurrences, some deposit like a sukkar in Egypt, it is guide us. It is, it's good evidence for us. Looking for the gold occurrences or gold deposit in the other side in the Saudi Arabia in Arabian Shelf. So this is some of mineral occurrences that we have it in Saudi Arabia. We have it in Arabian Shelf listed that. And it's related to structural control. Since we have a structure, we have mineralization. Let's say it's 96 of mineralization in the Arabian Shelf related to the structure. This is structural control, as I said. So, and also we have these other examples, and I can see the vice president who's there, Nasser al-Jahdari. He's trying to find the mineral occurrences, but not the opposite, by the way, in the fault northwest of Saudi Arabia. So really, I cannot go in detail. I just give you an overview about the mineral occurrences, mineral deposit that we have it in Saudi Arabia. It's based on the knowledge that we have it as Saudi Geological Survey. It's based to correlate Arabian Shelf and also Nubian Shelf on the other side in the Egypt. Who knows, maybe you have Sukkari in Saudi Arabia, northwest of Saudi Arabia. So, and then look how much of data we have it. We have huge data. That's why we have new initiatives. That's why we have new strategy. And one of the most important strategies we have at Saudi Geological Survey, listed in mining strategy in Saudi Arabia. It's called RGP, Regional Geological Program, and including geophysical survey, airborne survey, try to cover all the Arabian Shelf, try to understand the geology, the structure that we have it in the Arabian Shelf. And then we have also geochemical. We're planning to collect 100,000 samples from the Arabian Shelf and mapping, to do map for all the Arabian Shelf. We have, I'm not going in detail because this morning my colleague gave workshop about the NGD. So we have NGD, all the data that the NGD we have it, as my colleague this morning mentioned, is geological and topographic map, mineral occurrences, geochemistry. Just imagine, you can just go to the website and get all this information, huge information, for free. So we invite everyone interested about mineral exploration in Saudi Arabia to visit this website. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. Thank you, Hassan, for this information. It was a great information to start with. This is Majid bin Shaheen. I'm from Isnad Company, which is Saudi Mining Services Company. It's an executive arm of the Ministry of Industry and Mineral Resources, which is responsible for the Ta'deen platform. Now, just a more step in this journey, or for the investor journey, I will show you how to apply or just raise a request for getting the license for mining. Next slide, please. Okay. This presentation will be, unfortunately, will be in Arabic, so you can just log into mining platform and just Google it. You will find the mining platform with English screens. So just by clicking on the new registration, here you will have the regulations and the steps that you have, or just the first time, just after you finish the registration with the Ministry of Commerce and all the regulations. In the second screen, you will have the registration from the Ministry of Commerce. Just to add the number of your registration and the date or the expiry date. After that, this platform will retrieve your information to show you, just to confirm it, if the registration that you need to apply with. Here will be the address that you already register in the Ministry of Commerce and all details that you have with your company. After that, you will have the screens to just set the credentials, the username and password, just to log in for this platform. After that, your application for the registration in the mining portal will be reviewed, and once you get the confirmation for approval, you will have access to apply for the mining license. So as a first step, just to explore the minings, you will have to raise or apply for the mining license through mining platform. Setting your location, just select any materials that you want to explore with. So, after that, your application will be received by the, let's see, license department to review it and getting the license for it. My presentation was simple, just to show you how to register with the mining platform. After that, you can access your license and any information about your license through this platform, as you have the, let's say, full control for your license and your applications. So you can review it through a mining platform. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everybody. This is Abdullah Shibanat. I am the Vice President for Machinery and Equipment and Energy Cluster in the National Industrial Development Center. Today, we bring something unique. Not 100% mineral, but the machinery equipment is the backbone for each and every sector. And the National Industrial Strategy has been approved by His Royal Highness and the Council of Ministers. We came with the activation of the NIS through the initiatives that we had in the machinery equipment cluster. So, first of all, our agenda is focusing on three things. Overview of the National Industrial Strategy, and the second thing, deep dive on the machinery equipment cluster and where are we interact with the mining sector. So there is a lot of products we create and opportunities to the investor to invest in Saudi Arabia, which even affect the mining sector. The third thing, where's the potential ways that the government and the private sector will work together to make it happen. Let's focus first on the National Industrial Strategy. The National Industrial Strategy has been approved by the Council of Ministers last month. It's been approved in the first round, and this is something that gives us the responsibility to activate it. And this is what has been done from the machinery and equipment cluster. Our Crown Prince, God bless him, mentioned this kind of important message to the investors and to the local partners in Saudi Arabia. We have all the capabilities to reach a competitive and a sustainable industrial economy. From ambitious young talent, a distinguished geographical location, rich natural resources, and a leading national industrial companies. Through the national strategy for industry and partnership with the private sector, the kingdom will become a leading industry power that contributes to the securing a global supply chain and export high-tech products to the world. This message is very important, and it's highlight what we want to do. Now, the strategy house of the National Industrial Strategy. The strategy house clearly have a vision. The vision is to build an agile and competitive, sustainable private sector led by the industrial companies. There is two pillars on the right and on the left, which shows the private sector and the government sector to carry this vision. And in between, we have the objectives and the enablers. The objective, we want to have the know-how in Saudi Arabia. We want to have the R&D. Also, we want to make Saudi Arabia as a hub. How can we do this? We have to do something regarding the localization, and this is why the local content general procurement authority is there. And the national champions, they have their own, what do you call it, localization programs like Iktifa, Musanid, and the other kind of programs. We want to have the trade. We want to unlock the trade of Saudi Arabia. This is why we have the export authority, the Exim Bank. End of the day, without the logistic and the supply chain, we cannot reach the goal that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia trying to reach. This is why we are mentioning here clearly about the logistics. Now, how many sectors we have in the National Industrial Strategy? We have 12, but we have one sector, which is the chemical, divided to 4. So the total becomes 15 cluster or sector in the National Industrial Strategy. We can see the basic chemicals and the 4 chemicals that they have: the maritime, building material, we have the military cluster, metals, food and processing, aerospace, the pharma, and my cluster that I'm working on and I'm handling the machinery equipment, automotive, medical devices, and renewable. This kind of clusters that we have, it's covering all the sectors or all the industrial ecosystem that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is trying to cover. We have a map which shows where we are thinking to have the facilities through the mentioned clusters, the 15 clusters. Now, if we go deep and see where are we in the deep dive of the opportunities that we create, which may giving you a chance to see it in the mining sector. We have 44 opportunities being created, and we have the deep dive. We have the full information about the market. We have the full information about the technology, the addressable market. If you are in Saudi Arabia, what's the kind of market that you can play with? Now, if we are here in the mining future forum, we focus on 5 opportunities on the top on the left. This kind of opportunities, we are ready to work with you as an investors if you want to have any more clarifications, and we are happy to show you where is the IRR, where is the capex it will give you the attraction that you need to invest in Saudi Arabia. The tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Why we are saying tier 1, tier 2, tier 3? Because we have products in the tier 1, which is the main product. But in the meanwhile, there is some products came to fill this product, which is the components. This is the tier 2. And the tier 2 is very important to the kingdom to also to focus on, because we want to have a real manufacturing inside Saudi Arabia. Not only the assembly. Going to the tier 3, for example, the casting and the forging for the valve. It's very important also to have it in Saudi Arabia. This is why, alhamdulillah, thanks to God, in the National Industrial Strategy, we have initiative for the casting and forging. And in the meanwhile, our great friends from the mining sector working with us in the machinery equipment, and we closed two deals for the casting and forging, which will cover the demand that may came from the machinery equipment cluster. So there is an alloys from the aluminium or from the steel, and this kind of demand came from the machinery equipment cluster, being satisfied by these 2 big mega projects. And this is more information about the products that we are working on. So we have 44, and covering the tier 1 and the tier 2. Some information, also we have some product related to the food cluster, for the chemical, so we are construction. So we are covering all the 12 clusters mentioned in the NIS. Now, Abdullah, if we ask a question, what's your approach that you are using to have this kind of deep dive? How I can trust you? Okay, I want to show you today the 8 steps that we take to make sure that we have a very, strong pre-visibility study that we can give it to you as an investor to make sure that you have the correct information. First of all, we have to identify the main product in the category. This is what we did in the NIS. First, done. 2, we have also to have the value chain. Where's the value chain that we can work on together to make it happen? Because there is a lot of value chains. The kingdom is not ready to have it now, but in the future, maybe we will go through the backward integration, we will have it. Third thing, we will identify the raw material. We have in the kingdom SABIC, we have also other partners, they can provide you the raw material that you need. The third step, we will estimate the global and the MENA and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia market size. This is something usually a pain point for each and every investor who wants to invest in Saudi Arabia. He asks question, what's the demand? We want to clarify it. We have the top-down approach or the bottom-up approach. Now, if we go to the other point, it's trying to see the local players that they can be with you. For example, if you are an international investor and you want to come to Saudi Arabia, what kind of potential local players that they come to you and they can work with you? This is very important. The 7th step, we want to have also the strategic opportunities that will give you the maximum IRR with the low capex that you invest. This is very important. Usually the investors, he want to have his money returned back. End of the day, we want to give and calculate for you the NPV, IRR, and this kind of information. You will have it in the deep dive. Now, this is a map. On the y-axis, you will see the investment attraction, IRR. And in the x-axis, you will see the CapEx. The 5 opportunities that we showed to you for the mining sector is very attractive. It's having lower CapEx, less than 20 million. And we have higher IRR between 12 to 15 and 18% of IRR. This is giving you an idea that this cluster is helping the mining cluster to achieve their goals, because without the machine that you need to work on, you cannot have the correct competitive price to sell your product, or the mining is trying to get the maximum competitive prices by having, what do you call it, something related to the efficiency, because you need the machine to help you to reduce the cost of your production. Now, the potential ways through which private sector and the government sector can work on, this is very important. We will have a direct partnership in investment opportunities. For example, we will work together directly, sit together in one table, and we will discuss the opportunity. The government of Saudi Arabia, through the NIDC, will not ask for any single halala or dollar. It's free of charge. We will sit together, make sure that you will have the clarity that you need. This is first. Second thing, we also having participation with, what do you call it, subsidiaries. We will bring some companies that they are working in the field before you in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It will help. The third thing, also supporting through long-term agreements. We can sit together with the national champions, they have the demand, and we will try to get you the long-term agreement that you need. This will also support the sustainability that you need in your investments. End of the day, how can we support you? The National Industrial National Center, it's in the middle, and we have 4 main things that we can do it to you. We can give you the information that you need in the infrastructure. We can give you the information that you need in the demand. We can give you the information and support for protection through the local content ecosystem. We can give you also the information and support for the financials that you need to have it, because we have the SIDF and the DUSR and the remaining, what do you call it, supporting entities. In the end, the machinery equipment cluster happy to receive any of your questions, any of your queries through the 3 guys that you can see, and I'm proud to have my team with me, Yazid Al-Saif and Abdurrahman Al-Harbi. We are here to support you through any questions that you need. And if you have any questions now, we will have a Q&A session after my presentation. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you so much to be with us today, with me, and thank you of having the chance to see the machinery equipment cluster. Thank you.